Now, Stan, how did you end up getting into a conversation with Nelson about potentially moving into his property, sir?
He knew my story, so I had to live for 2 weeks in some caravan, and he came to it to help me with.
That's true. In other words, you were living in what's called straitened circumstances,
Yeah.
a bad situation, but you discovered he was homeless. So what did you do?
I offered them a room, somewhere to stay.
This initial offer happened when? Do you remember, Stan?
4.5 years ago.
4.5 years ago. Where's he living now?
He's still living in my house.
That's it.
When you moved in, you didn't make him sign a rental agreement, correct?
No, I did not.
Now, so what that means in law is that he was what's called a licensee. He licensed one of the rooms. Did you, when you moved in, Stan, sign anything about the rules and regulations of the house?
No, not part of legal point of view, no.
No legal document at all? And at first in 2014, how much was the rent?
£80 per week.
You agree with that, correct?
Yeah.
When he moved in 2014, was there any problems with him paying that £80 per week?
No, it wasn't. I was hoping that him and his girlfriend would only stay there for a few weeks.
Yes.
Because I like my own company.
Yes.
I'm a very independent person.
You are. And so, what could you have done? Let me help you, Michelle. If you want somebody, you're not terribly enjoying their company, and you think after a period of time it's not really working out, and you enjoy your own space, what might you say, Michelle?
Do one.
Do one! Although he doesn't have a written agreement, which you ought to have done straight away, what you did do, nevertheless, which allows your case to survive as a legal submission, you kept, for the purposes of this case, a rental book, correct?
Yes.
Most of the time, the rent was being paid, but there were deficits.
Yes.
Sometimes you would pay it, and sometimes you would be short, correct?
Not really before my mom came to the house. I was regularly paid. But after she came, the rent's gone up, you know, that's my problem came up.
Well, exactly so. In other words, Nelson, what you did was you what's called unilaterally increased the rent from £80 per week to £100 per week. Did you inform Stan of this?
I mentioned it to his girlfriend.
Well, his girlfriend's not here. Am I right that you were invited to do some work in the house?
Yep.
Well, I've got some before and after photos. So we've got new windows.
Frameworks are done. Rebuild a part of the frames, took the paint off the doors, varnished the wooden parts, carpet, fireplace is fully
working.
Rebuilt.
Now, sir, you never asked Nelson to pay for any of this work.
No.
You offered to do it in part as acknowledgement for his kindness to you.
That's it.
Judge, I asked him not to do any work in the house. I keep repeating, go and find a job and help to pay the rent.
Yes.
Don't do any work in the house.
But he did the work.
Yes.
And you can't have done it in one day. So after day 2, when he's got his toolbox open, you say, stop doing work, get out. And if you don't get out, I'm going to call the police. The point is, in June 2017, sadly, you had to go back to Bulgaria because you had some bad news, correct?
Yes.
And your father passed away. And at that stage, am I right that your partner was still living in this property and managing the rent herself?
Yeah.
Was there a time in which Nelson sat you down and explained exactly what the arrears were before you went to Bulgaria on that occasion, yes or no?
I don't think so, no.
Thank you, sir. Now, let's fast forward to your claim. In October 2017, Stan returned from Bulgaria. Now, at this stage, all you have living in the house is his partner, Daniela. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you know that Stan was actually back?
No, I had no idea.
Well, let's see what Daniela says. I do accept that we've got behind with our rent some weeks, but he's grossly exaggerating the total. And there are various other things that she says. What's important is that you didn't know that Stan had got back, and in fact, According to your claim, you thought he was hiding in the house. Now, what your girlfriend says, I categorically deny hiding Stan in the house. He arrived late back from his Bulgaria trip and Nelson went crazy in the morning for some reason. And she says, I hope this situation is sorted so we can start afresh. Ordinarily, I would have given no more than 2 months. But bearing in mind the considerable promises that were made to you, I think in the circumstances it would be fair, just and reasonable to say that 6 months is a reasonable period of time for you to have said goodbye, get out. You're entitled to 6 months rent that they didn't pay. 1 month I'm certain they haven't paid at all. You're also entitled to the rest of the deficits for a further 5 months. Consequently, all I can award you in this court is £1,540. Now, sir, I do not know how, when or why you are still living in this property. But if you continue to do so, and you believe personally that you owe him more money, then that's a matter for you. You understand?
I see.
And the conscience of you and your partner. If you enjoyed that video, then I strongly suggest clicking here for more highlights. For those of you who haven't subscribed yet, and why not, so that you never miss out, subscribe. Clicking down there, that's an order.